The Denver Broncos have trimmed down to their initial 53-man roster. Hello everyone and welcome to Denver Broncos Syndicate, part of the Sports Syndicate family of channels where we're dedicated to bringing you content about our favorite sports teams. I am your host, Gage Madrid. Before we jump in, we just need to knock out the housekeeping stuff. According to YouTube, just over 2/3 of the people who watch these videos are not subscribed. So if you routinely watch these videos but are not subscribed to the channel, it would be awesome if you could do so. We are just 12 subscribers away from 800, so let's see how fast we can get there. The Denver Broncos announced their initial 53-man roster ahead of the 2 p.m. deadline. Although most of the moves made by the Broncos did not come as much of a shock to me, there were some surprises mixed in there. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Broncos' initial 53-man roster. Quarterbacks 2, Russell Wilson and Brett Rippon. Josh Johnson cut. Although it was a close battle for the QB2 spot, GM George Paton said that it ultimately came down to the way Rippon played in the final preseason game. Running backs, no surprises. Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, and Mike Boone. Jaquan Hardy gets cut. Receivers, behind the roster locks in Sutton, Judy, Hamler, and Washington, the Broncos elected to keep Tyree Cleveland and undrafted free agent Jalen Virgil. Kendall Hinton, Seth Williams, and Darius Shepard were waived, and Brandon Johnson was placed on injured reserve with a high ankle sprain. Johnson going on IR doesn't surprise me. The team is going to essentially treat his rookie year like a redshirt year, but Hinton and Williams not making the active roster is a bit surprising. The team clearly likes Virgil and Cleveland quite a bit, and they also feel that they can get Hinton and Williams back on the practice squad. Tight ends, you have Alberto, Greg Dulcich, Eric Saubert, and Andrew Beck. Eric Tomlinson, as well as defensive lineman Mike Purcell, were released in a procedural move, but the team intends to re-sign them tomorrow. The team will be placing Greg Dulcich and cornerback Michael Ojemudia on the short-term injured reserve list, but they have to wait until tomorrow to do it, otherwise those players would be out for the entire season. Tomlinson and Purcell are vested veterans, meaning that they do not have to go on the waiver wire where they could possibly be poached by another team. General Manager George Paton said that those two were taking one for the team making this move, and that they are both going to be key pieces for us this year. Undrafted free agent Dylan Parham was also waived. He is possibly a practice squad candidate. On the offensive line, you have your 5 starters, and behind them, 4 depth pieces in Graham Glasgow, Calvin Anderson, Cam Fleming, and Luke Wattenberg. Another slightly surprising cut was Netane Muti, who had actually been rotating in with the first team offense at both left guard and right guard in training camp. Unfortunately, Muti suffered an injury that really set him back. The team is clearly comfortable with Graham Glasgow and Luke Wattenberg as the backup interior offensive linemen. The team also waived Quinn Bailey, Zach Johnson, Sebastian Gutierrez, and Michael Neese on the offensive line. On the interior defensive line, you have the 2 Joneses, Deshaun Williams, Ioma Uwazurike, and Matt Henningsen. Mike Purcell we already talked about. McTelvin Agim and Jonathan Harris were also waived. Agim comes as a bit of a surprise after his dominant performance against the Vikings, but maybe the team is looking to bring him back on the practice squad. Edge rushers, you have Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory, along with Nick Benito, Baron Browning, Jonathan Cooper, and Aaron Patrick. Malik Reed was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers this afternoon. The Broncos sent Reed and a 2020 7th round pick to Pittsburgh for a 2023 6th round pick. Reed got buried in a crowded room, and this trade allows him to possibly see more playing time in Pittsburgh. For off-ball linebackers, you have your 2 starters in Josie Jewell and Jonas Griffith, along with 2 backups in Alex Singleton and Justin Sternad. Kenai Mauga and Jeremiah Gamel were waived. Moving on to corners, you have Pat Surtain and Ronald Darby at boundary corner, K'Wan Williams as the starting nickel, Damari Mathis, Isane Bassi as the backup nickel, and Michael Ojemudia, who will be placed on short-term IR tomorrow. Bless Austin, Donnie Lewis, Fayon Hicks, and Jaquan McMillan were all cut. In the safety room behind Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson, you have Caden Stearns, PJ Locke, and rookie Delarian Turner-Yell. Veteran J.R. Reed was released. Finally, on special teams, you have kicker Brandon McManus, of course, punter Corliss Waitman, and long snapper Jacob Bobenmoyer. Punter Sam Martin was released yesterday. Although this is the team's initial 53-man roster, there is a strong chance that they could be active on the waiver wire to add depth at positions such as cornerback, quarterback, and on the offensive line. Be sure to keep it right here on Denver Broncos Syndicate for updates on any future transactions. I'm curious, Broncos country, did any of these moves surprise you? The only ones that came as a bit of a shock to me were Hinton and Moody. Everyone else pretty much made sense. Also, give me your record prediction for the 2022 season in the comments section below. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. And while you're at it, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Gage Madrid NFL for even more Denver Broncos coverage. And for now, this has been another episode of Denver Broncos Syndicate. I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out and let's ride.